Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, and King Dio. Capcom just released a statement saying that they are primarily focusing on PC game development going forward, and I'd really like to talk about why. Because Capcom, like most third-party developers in Japan right now, are kind of seeing the writing on the wall when it comes to Xbox and PlayStation development. It's hit a dead end. It's over. They're never going to be relevant again. They can't compete. Xbox can buy all the studios they want, but in the end, nobody's going to be buying Xboxes. The days of third parties rallying behind these giant corporations, trying to keep them relevant, trying to drive Nintendo out of the industry, they're over. It's never going to happen. They failed. Nintendo's at the point now where their brands are recognizable worldwide. They'll continue getting more and more popular, and I think going forward we're going to see a lot more niche Nintendo games, stuff like Advance Wars, stuff like Fire Emblem, stuff like Kirby, stuff like Metroid start to get even more popular. I legit think we could see Metroid Dread be the best-selling title in the franchise. I could see it doing 4 or 5 million units with all the publicity it's been getting. It might do really, really well, right? I am very, very optimistic about the future of Nintendo at this point. Economic collapse aside, these corporations, right, they failed, right? The plan, if you're not aware of what the plan was to drive Nintendo and Sega out of the console industry and sort of create this utopia for third-party developers. They would have control over these brands. They would be the dominant force. They wouldn't have to give Nintendo money for putting games out on their consoles. Imagine if Capcom tried to release a Monster Hunter game alongside Zelda. If you're not aware, if a game sells on Switch, Nintendo makes money off of that, regardless of whether they made it or not. So, Monster Hunter Capcom would never be able to compete with Nintendo ever again in any fashion. It just wouldn't work, right? So, these developers, the third-party devs, have been desperately trying for the past 25 years, trying to assert dominance over the console industry. They've been sabotaging Nintendo at every turn. They've been breaking deals. They've been going behind Nintendo's back. They've been shoving all this support on literally every single platform, from Xbox to PlayStation to PC. They just the mobile, doing everything they possibly can to expand their business outside of Nintendo. They did not want Nintendo to dominate. They did not want Nintendo to win. They wanted Nintendo to fail. And Capcom, in seeing that PlayStation is losing popularity, it's losing steam, it's losing relevancy, it's never going to recover from The Last of Us Part 2. In seeing that, they're trying to appeal to the PC market, right? They're trying to get PC gamers to sort of support their company, to get excited about the future prospects, to say that please buy our games. They're trying desperately to stay off of Nintendo consoles. That's all this is. That's all there is to it. It has nothing to do with Steam being viable, because it really isn't. These companies are trying to stave off the inevitable for as long as they possibly can. They want Nintendo to fail, and to do that, they're going to have to keep their games off of Nintendo hardware. So they'll go to any lengths imaginable to do that. What we're seeing now is just I would call it the death throes, honestly. It really does feel like we're at the point where companies are having a very, very, very difficult time justifying any of their decisions. Whereas Capcom, why isn't Capcom saying they're going to put more games on Switch after all these games have done really, really well? What have they put out since Monster Hunter? What have they put out other than a handful of ports from 20 years ago? What have they been doing? Jack shit. They've been trying to milk Resident Evil. They've been trying to milk Street Fighter. They've been doing everything they possibly can to undermine and sabotage Nintendo. But it's not going to work, and I'm very, very curious as to when the House of Cards will all come crashing down.